Well, hello and welcome to week 16. This is an Icarus Let's Discuss. We're up to week 16. This is the weekly update, and I am here with Gao. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
All right, I'm really excited about this update. What do you have you had a quick read through? What do you think?
I did do a quick read through indeed. Interesting. Interesting, definitely.
Cool, excellent. Right. I'm just having a quick look at some of the things here. Let's see. Okay, week 16, Scorched and Frozen. Whilst I check a few settings, Corne, would you be so good as to give us a quick start, please?
Sure. So, this week brings a brand new mission, a dangerous new predator, temperature system changes, UI improvements, and bug fixes. Yay, new mission. Yay, new predator. Me likey. After another great week, we bring you the 16th content update with a new mission that takes you into a scorching desert to face a new threat. Sounds good.
It does, doesn't it? I'm really looking forward to this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. Okay, what's next?
So,
A
now
quick
that the
note.
foundation of the game is closer to where we wanted it to be at launch, we can focus on bringing new content and design adjustments. One of the areas we're most excited to develop is aggressive, and later alien, creatures that bring new challenges to players. With new challenges, we'll be providing a good basis to develop more purpose around Tier 4 technologies and beyond, according to Dean
Ooh.
Hall, the game runner himself.
Yeah, there's the hint that there's going to be more tiers to this game.
Yes,
Oh,
one of the
sweet.
things I noticed as well.
Excellent.
Tier 4 and beyond. Hint, hint.
Yeah, there's more to come. I really like this image of the scorpion. It looks like somebody's being stuck in the leg there. There's a little bit of blood spurting out, and the other one's going to grab his ankle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's also
brings a new meaning to the term ankle biters, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does. But yeah, not only the Tier 4 and beyond, but also the develop aggressive and later alien creatures, hinting towards yet new
Yeah.
new enemies, new
Yeah.
new animals. Me likey.
Oh, definitely. Alrighty. Well, thanks for that, Dean. We're looking forward to this. Beware scorpions. Excellent. Your newest foe on Icarus is the scorpion, a territorial creature who protects their lair viciously with a poisonous barbed tail and sharp pincers that will challenge even the most prepared players. Ooh, me thinking some guns is coming out here.
Not running through the desert without looking around anymore.
Yeah. We'll maybe be sticking to the edges of the desert and all now.
Yeah, staying on the rocks and stuff.
All right. Scorpions drop more unique consumables to craft with. Excellent. We always like that. Along with new food consumables with their own buffs. This is part of the expanded meat system, which was introduced last week. Excellent.
Scorpion meat.
Brilliant meat. Scorpion meat. And something different to eat in the desert, maybe. You know, we kind of get sick of just meat, and more meat. Although now we've got meat and bacon.
And it will be desert meat, scorpion meat as well.
Yep. And the new mission here, the concealment recovery mission, will introduce you to these creatures, so be careful of your step. Ooh. Yep. That's going to be interesting. I wonder whether or not they'll appear out of the sand like the worms do.
Don't know. We definitely are going to test this new mission out.
Oh,
once
hell
we've done
yeah.
the test mode.
Oh, hell yeah. And there's a name. Sorry, I'm getting my tongue tied here. There's a little note from Sean Elliott, the game designer here. This week we have added some slightly enlarged and morphed arachnids. Slightly, we doubt that. It's a step.
Yeah.
It's a step towards some more interesting bespoke animal behavior and actions. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. And the mission this week is a nod to how they might have accidentally ended up on the surface.
For the people who are looking for the mission in the mission 3,
Yeah.
it is in the, like we call it, the second wheel in the mission 3. If you start a mission, if you start a mission, then from the second mission, it splits into a north and a south path, and it makes basically a 8 figure. And after that, it makes another north-south route again. So the new mission is at the start of the second wheel, incursion scan. You go down the southern route. It's at the bottom, before El Camino. It took me a while to find the mission as well, so I thought I'd help out.
Oh, okay. Cool. Let's have a look at the information for this new mission here. It says we have to collect and destroy the results of a failed experiment. I kind of thought that was why we were on the planet in the first place, as a result of a failed experiment.
Yeah, the terraforming experiment.
Yeah, failed big time, which is why we're all here. Anyway, operator Sinutai, desert biome. Sinutai has been conducting a closely guarded experiment with a potential exotic mutation that may be deemed unethical if made public. Ooh.
Interesting.
Ooh, I see another lore video coming up, possibly.
Yeah.
We'll see how this goes. Mission to locate biological containment units and destroy the evidence.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's a cover up. That's a cover up in the making for sure.
Oh yeah.
Flat fee. All safety and survival concerns are the responsibility of the contractor.
Yeah.
Mm.
Looking at the mission in the mission 3, we have to destroy 2 arachnid containment units for a reward of 400 Ren, and you have 7 days time to do it. Difficulty 2 skull. So shouldn't be too hard for any experienced Icarus player.
Well, yes, but we did experience when we were playing the 2 new missions from last week that they were only 2-star missions and yet had all the attributes of a hardcore mission, with exception to the fact that you could respawn yourself.
Yep. But indeed, like taking damage when you're storm damage when exposure is only halfway through, stone buildings taking storm damage through.
Yeah, but it
wasn't a hard mission as such. Sure, we all died, but that wasn't necessarily a result of the mission being hard. More of not knowing yet how to handle the situation.
Yes, and being woefully underprepared.
Yeah, kinda.
But we know better now. We know better now. We'll definitely over prepare for this new one. I reckon.
No, I'm gonna run in head first. I'm gonna run in head first.
Yeah, you'll be finding these scorpions with your face.
Exactly. The best way to find them.
Okay. A new mission, Concealment and Recovery, will introduce scorpions to our prospectors, requiring you to recover a crashed biocontainer that has been inhabited by these arachnids, so they did hitch a ride. This new risk comes with a fairly balanced reward in return, so it's up to you to decide whether the risk matches the potential spoils. That's the case for every mission in Icarus, and I have yet to really have a mission that doesn't perform.
Well, we have had those missions for like 50 or 100 rand rewards, and it was a lot of grinding. I'm now talking about the agriculture collection mission thingy, which we did when it was just added to the game, like before they balanced it out.
Yeah,
It was a tough grind for not a whole lot of rewards.
yeah,
They balance it later on, so it's fine now. But yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to gaming it. All right.
Oh, and decide whether the risk matches the potential spoils. How about to decide whether or not you want to do this new mission?
Oh, I would say that based on the um, publicity and quantity of people who've been doing the newest two missions lately, I would say that, and given the new spoils that we get from the worms and the animals and the different meats and stuff, I would say it has definitely piqued the interest of people who had maybe put the game down for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's certainly made it much more interesting for me, and I'm really enjoying that new scale bow.
Oh, me too. But yeah, for
Really
this
need to
mission,
get
hey,
some of those scale arrows going as well, so we can get the automatic poison.
eh, not sure about the arrows, but the bow for sure.
Oh, the bow is fantastic. I love
Yeah.
it.
But
Anyway,
yeah, for this mission as well, even if this was like only a 50 rand reward, I still would do the mission.
yeah,
It's a new mission, of course I'm gonna do it.
yeah, yeah. All right, now we're on to the temperature system. Excuse me. Would you mind giving us an intro to that till I just grab something to drink?
Roger. So, for the Scorched and Frozen updates, we set out to make a bunch of improvements to the temperature system, which is now much more dynamic and responsive to choices the player makes. The armor you wear and the items you consume will now have a direct impact on your internal body temperature, rather than just simply affecting your resistance to external temperatures. You may notice new things like getting out of water bodies will keep your character wet for a while. Like getting out of water bodies will keep your character wet for a while. And general quality of life improvements to temperature related consumables, including a new recipe to craft ice water on your character by simply combining ice and your trusty thermos. To keep you on your toes, we adjusted the temperature curves of the biomes and also brought the heat afflictions up to parity with the cold afflictions by introducing heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Now more than ever, the choices you make in these more extreme areas of Icarus can mean the difference between thriving or perishing.
Uh,
They do have a point here. I mean, in the Arctic, you had to keep a closer eye on the weather than in the desert.
oh yes, for sure.
Uh,
Although
although
if you could,
hardcore missions in the desert, ooh,
yeah,
they storms are hard as well.
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is that you seem to be much more well. I'm saying that now. My brain's just going, no, that's a load of rubbish. Um, but it would seem that we're an awful lot more attuned to the weather system in the Arctic than we are in the desert.
Oh, true.
Although, having said that, when you get struck with a heat wave in the desert, it's not an awful lot of fun.
Nope, you can't do much.
No,
But
so it's
where
going to
they
be.
say when you get out of a body of war, you stay wet for like 15 seconds. I wonder, will this now counteract the heat wave better? I hope so.
Well, it may do, but it doesn't. It wouldn't give you any. I don't think it would give you any more protection from the weather.
Well, it was always bringing down your temperature.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just keep your temperature down a bit more for keep
a bit
keep the
longer.
temperature down for longer. Give you a bit more protection from heat or sun or whatever.
Yeah. It's interesting to
Excellent.
see. We'll have to check.
Yeah.
So, but also like now the ice water. You all already had the hot coffee, the hot tea, the hot cocoa to take into the Arctic to give you a bit more cold resistance.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there is now an ice water which gives you heat resistance.
mm, well,
That's how I read this.
yeah. See that.
Temperature-related consumable, including a new recipe to craft ice water on your character. Combine ice and thermos so you have cold water. During a heat wave, you drink the cold water, your body temperature will go down even more than drinking
Yes.
water.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're they're also saying that they've reduced. Did we get to that bit yet? No, I didn't. No, we didn't. I'm a little bit ahead of
The
myself.
only the part above the image here, only the temperature system.
Yeah. Okay. Keep you on your toes.
Also, the
Yeah.
armor you wear will now have a direct impact. Like the leather armor and the fur armor basically had the same cold resistance statistics.
Not quite. No, I
Um,
think one was like
mm,
2%, the other was 5.
nah, there wasn't a whole lot of difference there. I hope there
Um,
will be more of a difference now. But then
maybe,
again,
maybe now.
once you start using the space armor, you basically never use anything else anymore.
Well, maybe now there's going to be a little bit more call and requirements for the polar bear armor, which nobody was making
True,
because it didn't really make any difference between that and the fur armor.
true.
The only difference is that if you were in the forest in polar bear armor, you would overheat.
Yeah, that would still be the case then, I think.
Yes, but does it now then mean that the effects of the buffs that you get from wearing polar bear armor are more akin to what they should have been when they first came out, therefore encouraging us to go and make it? Because my
I don't
initial
know. We would have to test this.
my initial character was spec'd out for polar bear armor, and I actually re-spec'd it because I was never using it. It wasn't worth the blueprints. I also had the ghillie armor.
The talent
So
point even more
yeah,
important.
the talent points for them, and I ended up respecing both of those because they were a waste of a talent point. I could use them
Well,
somewhere else. So
the
maybe
ghillie
now,
armor was a good one to use to not get attacked by predators that much in desert and in forest biomes. However, it's kinda lost its value once we came to the point that like, oh, I'm being attacked by a couple of wolves. I'm just gonna kill them. Like you don't fear the predators no more, so you don't need to hide for them no more either. At that point, the ghillie suit kinda
yeah,
lost the purpose for
yeah,
me.
it lost its sense of being. So
Yeah.
maybe this will encourage us to use the polar bear armor a bit more. And now that we know where the polar bears are and are consistently, we know where to go hunt them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We can hunt them easily until all bows break and you ran out of all your arrows and you die.
Yeah. Okay. Next piece.
Alrighty. The
Which was
user interface updates.
Yep. Here we go. We've taken on board a bunch of feature upvote submissions and other suggestions to better explain how Icarus works for new players, but they'll be useful for seasoned prospectors too. any extra explanation is good, and I can thoroughly support making it slightly easier for new players. But I do have to say that there is an element to this which is just plain common freaking sense and
Common
shouldn't
sense
require
indeed.
further explanation.
Yeah. Read the current available information and indeed common sense.
Yes, that is, of course, assuming that the information is correct in the first place.
Oh, by the way, Mike Ladd says in chat they
Hmm.
removed the heat cold resistances from the Naneo armor. I'm looking at the stats, and indeed there is physical resistance still and exposure resistance. There is no heat or cold resistance. However, there is an armor insulation, which might have replaced the previous heat cold resistance.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely sounds like that. Hello, Mike Lad. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it. And yes, I do believe that I will be going for some more insulation.
Well, it's protecting against both heat and cold. So I don't know what the actual text was before.
Yeah, well, I know from my own character that I'm personally wearing the Hark Enviro suit, which carries two
Two
module
modules.
slots.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm wearing that is because it has two module slots. I am not willing to let go of one of my module slots for the basis of having a hot or cold enviro suit, because I'm doing myself a disservice.
Well, maybe now it might change. Maybe now, based on a mission, you might want to go for the Bihu or the Dongchang
Well,
and fire suit.
that's very true, but the point is, can you take them both with you if
No, you
your
cannot.
if your mission includes both Arctic and desert biomes? Which
No, you
I'm so
cannot.
sorry, I've got a frog in my throat.
Yeah.
Which, going by the last couple of new missions, that's a dual biosystem that comes together a lot.
True. But there are still quite a few missions which bring you to the Arctic, but not to the desert, or to the desert, but not to the Arctic.
Yes, yes, because if
So yeah, now with the whole new temperature system, you might wanna take one of the Shenggong suits instead of the Chigo Hark suit.
yeah,
But you cannot bring an extra suit down. You cannot change your suit. I'm not even going into the whole sanitary issue if you have to spend 30 days with the suit on without getting out of it,
yeah,
freshen
because
yourself up and stuff. But
it's
yeah,
not like you can take your enviro suit off because it's under your armor,
you
and
can take your armor off, but
it's actually grayed out in your inventory, so it's not like you can take the enviro suit off.
no,
And
you can't.
I'm gonna interrupt just a second and say, Mike, that Mike Ladd says exactly. It's the reason I never crafted those enviro suits. And if you can't take any extra enviro suits with you, I tried this morning. So
Yeah. So
so
you can't take additional enforced suits. So
here is an individual who has already tested in the name of science and knows that you can only take the one enviro suit with you.
well, it always has been that you can only take one enforced suit, and I haven't read anything in any patch notes, even hinting towards the fact that you will be able to do so in the future, which, in my opinion, is fine.
Yes.
It just makes, and I kind of hope these new temperature changes. I kind of hope they will make the Shenggong suits more attractive. Sure, it's only one module, and I'm sorely gonna miss the second module. but it does bring a little bit extra dynamics into the gameplay if you, next to your equipment loadout, also have to think about your enviro suit before starting a mission.
Yeah, but then it was. I mean, I bought the supporters pack, so I automatically got a better enviro suit than everybody else. But I'm so sorry.
It's
Excuse me.
slightly better. The only difference, I believe, is that it had a module slot where the standard suit does not.
Yes, but I still had to unlock the standard suit initially in order to gain access to the rest of the workshop tree. And I had to very categorically and very carefully decide where I was going to put my Ren so that I could get to the Hark suit, which everybody wears. Because it's got the module slots. Now, if I have to give up a module slot for insulation, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. It might become more valid, so to say, with this new temperature system.
Yeah. Mike Ladd says, thing is, those suits are expensive and should have 2 module slots. I couldn't agree with you more.
Indeed.
I couldn't agree with you more. Especially the ones that actually unlock the nano armor, because we used to have a hot one and we used to have a cold one, and you only ever needed to unlock one of them to get the entire nano suit armor, which is what I did. I unlocked the cold one because it was easier. You didn't need any protection in the desert other than to be inside.
Yep.
And not being able to deal with cold quite as much, because at that point I couldn't craft the polar bear armor, and we couldn't actually deal with the polar bears well enough to get the hide in the first place.
True.
The suits that sat the suits. Yeah, the suits that sat just underneath that nano armor should have had 2 module slots. You cannot force a player to go backwards. It is not a good idea.
So I went for the cold resistant one first as well. Later on, when once I had enough credits and enough exotics, I did unlock the other one as well, just for the sake of it. Now, you're saying it should have 2 slots. Maybe I agree it would be nice, but on the other hand, it is gonna make you choose between either temperature protection or a module. Like I said, it brings more of a dynamic into your initial loadout. What am I going for? Am I going for speed? Am I going for packing? Am I going for insulation?
Well, I suppose when you look at it like that, we have the dropship inventory enough to actually be able to take both a carry and a speed module. So the reality there is, if you've only got 1 slot, you can do both.
Yep,
but I am so used to using a double module slotted suit that to be forced to choose between a 1 module suit that protects against weather and a 2 module suit that doesn't. I'm sorry, chances are I'm going to take my 2 module slot every time because I've become far too used to it.
Quite possibly. However, if the temperature changes are like extreme enough, I don't know. Some part of me is kind of hoping it will be enough of a difference to decide to go for one of the Jengong shoots, depending on where the mission will bring you.
Yeah,
instead of the Hark S5.
Yeah,
it's gonna bring some nice dynamic into the whole initial loadout.
Yeah, well, I can certainly say that there's not going to be much continuing to run outside when there's a storm going on anymore.
True.
Yeah, so anyway, we've talked about the weather enough. Let's continue. User interface updates. Okay. We've taken on board a bunch of, so I've just talked about that.
Yep.
We've made it clearer whether the solo talent tree is active or not. It is deactivated whenever you play in a group, but you can still spend your points and interact with it. Well, that's a good thing. Being able to
Yep.
use your points, regardless of whether you're multi or single player, is always a good thing.
Well, it's deactivated whenever you play in a group.
Yes.
But
that doesn't mean to say that you
it,
shouldn't. That doesn't mean to say that you shouldn't be able to access those points to allocate for your solo player if you are, for example, stuck in a storm and not able to do anything in the meantime anyway.
True. And after they split off the talent points, like a separate pool of talent points for solo talents, no problem. Hey,
Yeah.
I spend my points in the solo talent tree as well. And now if I join the first part before you folks come in, I'm using my solo talent points.
Yes.
And if I stay a bit longer after you folks log off, I'm using the solo points again. I like it this way.
Yes. It certainly encourages people to do both. And I'm gonna just interrupt here a second. Mike Ladd is saying it's going to be a learning curve. 5% resistance may not be that important to give up an extra module. Well, I certainly hope so, Mike. I certainly hope so, because I have become, I'm going to say this, I will say it till I'm blue in the face. I have become so used to having 2 slots in a module that if the game designers want to force me to give up a game slot, it better be bloody worth it. That's all I can say.
5% during a storm in a hardcore mission might be the difference between life and death.
Well, the only way we're going to find out is to go and test it for science, huh?
Exactly. And we will.
Well, we always do. We always do.
Yep.
Okay.
Anyway, back to the talent points. It's a good thing they made it clearer. They already added some additional text in the UI when they split off the solo talent points into their separate pool. Like what, 2 weeks or so ago? 3?
Yeah.
But apparently it wasn't clear enough yet for everyone, so they added even more text. So they made it even clearer, which is good.
Yeah, they may have, you know how we've got that little signal on the top left-hand side of the screen where it tells you how many talent and or blueprint points you have. They may have something sitting up there saying that solo talent tree disabled.
Now, if you look at the talent tree right now, in the solo, if you switch to solo, it has this extra text box in it. This talent tree only functions when playing solo. Points assigned on this tree do not apply when playing in a team. It does not state that if you play with a team but you're the only one active, like the only one in the prospect, it will still apply. That's something they did not add to the text box. They're basically an extra text box saying, hey, this is for solo only if there are, and the meaning is if there are more people in the prospect, these talent points are not active.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's good.
Yeah.
The other thing it says here that they've done is they've added labels so you now know who owns which dropship.
So yeah, no longer running around, which dropship is mine?
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, this isn't mine, that isn't mine, which means the one that's the furthest away across the stream in the Riverlands is mine, and I know that there's a freaking bear over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, I mean, that would be that.
Well, you know as well as I do, there's at the end of the mission, you run up to the dropships. You're always like, okay, but which one is mine?
Yes, I've actually noticed that I mean, I'll definitely have to double check, but I've actually noticed that the indication for your dropship is the fact that the stairs are down.
Never actually saw that.
Because
I thought they were all
I've
down.
I've
I
I've
don't know.
not I've noticed actually that when it comes down to the dropship, you can't interact with anybody else's dropship, and all the stairs are up. So if there's a dropship with the stairs that are down, that's got to be yours. But that's the only thing that I thought, and I
No, no.
emphasize the word thought. That's the
The
only.
doors are open for all dropships, but I thought the ladders were down for all dropships as well.
Yes.
I know the doors are open because I have been shooting flame arrows into dropships.
Yeah, we know you set us all on fire before we take off.
Yep.
Wait a minute, you can't take off yet. I've got to get some fire arrows. And we're like, oh, here we go again. we're gonna die because they're gonna get some crispy steaks in the station in a minute.
Exactly.
Mike is saying in the chat here, yes, they should make it more clear that even with multiples in a prospect, solo kicks in if you're there alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, one of my solo perks is see animal health bars. So for me, it's easy to see when the talents become active and when they get deactivated again. But
Yes.
yeah, from the text alone, it isn't the most clear item in the game.
Yes.
True.
Yes. Okay. The next bit is the other thing. I'm going to go back to the chat here. Mike had also said he would be looking forward to seeing the science tests. Now, that's something that recently I haven't been showing, purely and simply because I've been concentrating more on editing videos than the live streams right now, based on the fact that my channel is so small. But if I know that I would have people watching, I'd quite happily put the live streams out there. So
Sure.
how's about this, Corne? For the first time ever, how's about we go from a live weekly update to a live test for the new mission?
So straight ahead, start a mission and stream it live. I'm all for it as long as I can play.
Oh well, absolutely. Okay, so for those of you who are in the chat, for anybody watching, thank you very much for the support. Give us a thumbs up, spread the word to your friends, give us a subscribe. That's absolutely brilliant. Can't appreciate you enough for that. And I will say, once this stream has finished for the update, I will be going live to test a new mission with Corne.
Yep.
So stay tuned. It's going to get good. Let's finish this update then so that we can get to gaming. They've better explained respawning using beds as respawn points. Well, didn't they do that anyway?
I don't know. Maybe there's a tooltip now. If you put your bed down and press F to set respawn point, maybe it now says you will respawn here. I don't know. If I don't forget, we'll be testing it in the mission.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent. Okie dokie. Right. They've better explained recovering gear and death penalties, and added a handy link to the most recent patch notes on the title screen. That's a good idea. That's a good idea, because I have noticed in the Discord channel, the Icarus Discord channel, that people are complaining about things that have just been changed in an update, and then you find out they haven't actually read the update.
Yeah.
So
now I'm actually looking at where I can find. Oh, here. So in the first Icarus page, after the loading animation has completed, or you click to skip. So the screen where you have the play offline settings credit exit. On the top right, there is now a feedback and a patch notes button. Patch notes
excellent.
button will open a tab in a browser going to the actual
Yes.
patch notes.
Well, that's good, because now people really don't have any excuse to say, I didn't read the patch notes. I can understand that for casual gamers. They just want to come in and have a nice quiet game or a game with their pals and not have it be too flustered and stuff. And they find everything's changed and they don't understand why, because they're not a hardcore player like you and I. I mean, we are die-hard players.
Trust me, people will
Have
still
been
be
from
complaining
Beta
about it.
Weekend 1. Have been
Oh,
a
true.
die-hard player since Beta Weekend 1,
True.
and was instantaneously hooked. So I can understand that people maybe don't have the time to read it, but seriously, if there's something's changed and you don't know why, is an update patch note the first thing people go to, or is that just me?
Trust me, people will still be asking these questions in Discord. Like, you still see people like, hey, I lost levels. I'm now only level 50. I want my levels back.
Yes, and my answer to that was, yeah, hello, that was changed 2 weeks ago.
Yep. But other changes as well. And people who didn't read the patch notes before will not start reading them all of a sudden. But hey, it is nice that they added a link to the patch notes. If you're like you and me, you run into something, you were like, hey, wasn't this in the patch notes? And then you're like, where were the patch notes again? Now you can simply click there.
Yeah, now you can say they're actually in the title screen when you enter the game. So just have a look there.
It gives you an extra way to go to those patch notes.
Yes, exactly. Okay, we'll continue on. The quicker we get through this update, the quicker we get to that science testing.
Oh, true.
Coming soon, changes to drop timers.
You skipped what's
Oh, did I skip some?
Yeah, these UI changes may be small improvements, and there are more to come, but they can really help new players. Definitely. So we'd like to thank you for your feedback here. And also, don't forget, the first sentence here, we've taken on board a bunch of feature upvote submissions.
Yes.
And other suggestions. People like complaining nothing is done with the feature upvote. Here again, folks, the devs are looking at the feature upvotes.
Yes. Well, the feature upvotes are extremely important because it gives the team the community feedback. It tells the team what the community's thinking, where the community think it could go, and other times where it should be going instead of where it is currently going.
But also, bug reports, if you don't follow bug report, don't start complaining. People, devs don't fix the game. If the devs don't know people are having an issue.
It's like
is important.
I have said in games so many times, and I am the world's worst for this, right? Oh, when I drop back in and I have to rearrange my inventory. And I'm like, oh, and sometimes I'm just having one of those days where it's just not working so well, and I'm like, I need to sort it out again, grr. And you say, well, why don't you just put a featured upvote in there? And do you know something? Really? I still haven't done it.
Don't complain about it. Put it in a featured upvote. You can see them looking at it.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So yeah, but there are some little things that I'm like, no, that's just too, that's just too small of a problem to, I mean, really seriously, it takes you 10 seconds to resort your inventory, but maybe I should just get to the point.
Feature upvote?
Yeah,
don't complain in game.
Yeah, maybe I should just like stop complaining about it, but my OCD doesn't allow me to.
Tell your OCD to create a feature upvote.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mike says, haha, I've heard the level 50 whines. I had to explain to mollify them. Yes. And let me ask you something, Mike. Were you doing this with a huge grin on your face as if to say, well, duh? Because
Yeah.
I will be honest and say I was.
We still need a sort feature for the loadout inventory also, just a minor complaint. Well, Mike, there is the sorts button in your inventory. It sorts it starting top left with the heaviest items or the heaviest slots first. So there is kind of a sort feature. The thing where we're talking about is if you have, for example, your top row in your inventory empty, you've arranged everything on the bottom,
Which,
certain items in certain places.
which is
You log
exactly what
off,
I
you log
do.
on again. Everything will be sitting starting from the top left.
Yes. Yes. So
That's the issue
and
we're talking about. They don't save the layout in your inventory upon logging off.
yes. Yes. Or if for example the host has an issue and crashes and kicks everybody else out, you've got to come all the way back in and your inventory's all sort of messed up again.
Yeah.
So yeah. It's a minor complaint. It is a minor complaint. I should be putting it into the upvote, but I haven't because I really, I mean, if it bothered me that much, I would. So
minor
as often as I
inconvenience.
mention, oh, I've got to sort my my inventory again. As many times as I'll mention it, I'm really not that bothered enough to put it in an upvote.
Ah, wait. Mike is speaking of the inventory in the loadout screen before the mission. Yeah.
Yes.
I know my OCD puts my armor on the top. And
yes.
Every time I don't have to, because I know the loadout is being carried over from one mission to another, but still, had to make it look neat. But for me, that's not even an inconvenience. It's more like, I'll just quickly shuffle it around.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you what I think I might put into a feature upvote is being able to destroy things in your inventory. This is before you go into a new mission, when you're looking
Yeah.
at your loadout and you've got all these extra piddly little things that you created early on, like the MXC knives and the pickaxes and the axes and all this stuff.
Well,
and
you don't
and
know.
you
You
can't.
have more
Now
slots
that
to
you've
take down.
yeah, but now you've created them, you can't get rid of them.
Yeah, you can. You have 15 slots to take down now. Just
No. Stop. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you look at your loadout and you have the inventory on the left-hand side, and you have all these spaces. And I have MXC knives and MXC pickaxes and MXC, all this, and even the spare spacesuits.
The spacesuits you cannot get rid of, but those knives, you bring them down, you drop them on the ground, you leave them there, you don't take them back up.
Yeah, and then 3 days later you get an email saying somebody found your knife, have it back. And I'm like, I left it to get rid of
it. No, I think that is if someone else is bringing your item back up.
Yeah, Mike says, I tried to destroy the inventory in the loadout. They won't destroy. Exactly. So I now have half my inventory, because at one time I had 3 players. So I've got at least 3 knives. I've got at least 3 axes, at least 3 pickaxes, at least 3 suits and all this lot. And now I can't get rid of them. And I've got half an inventory full of crap. And I can't get rid of it.
I tested this for science. I made a couple of the MXC crates. They don't cost a lot. And I left them on the planet. If no one else in this mission is picking it up and bringing it back up, it will stay on the planet and it will get destroyed. You don't get it back.
Yeah.
I can tell you this as a fact. I've tested it. That's how it works.
Yeah. Well.
So, yeah, you can get rid of the crap. Take it with you, drop it on the ground, leave it. For all I care, you drop it in a lake or whatever. As long as no one else on the prospect picks it up and takes it back up, you won't get it back.
Yeah, well, I will definitely be testing that out. Anyway, let's get back to the update. The sooner we get the update done, the sooner we get the game in the science in underway. So, changes to drop timers. Drop timers are an important mechanism for providing pressure to enhance the survival experience. Yeah, we've done this. But it's clear we need to make some changes as to how these work. We've been investigating how we can make these changes to better support the game. We always support that. We always support better stuff to enhance the game. So let's see.
Yeah.
We've been working on changes to how drop timers work to better balance the game for all players. We need to have a real-time world when we can delete the data from our servers, which is fair enough because, there's only so much capacity.
Make the system manageable, definitely.
Yeah, you're doing this for millions of people. I mean, that would be horrendously huge information, as it would progressively make the system unmanageable if we keep that data forever. Now, I will say that we have both noticed that the longer you are in a single mission, the more lag you will experience over time.
This is true.
And I reckon it's because
the lag originates, whether it's on the client or on the server. But yeah, the longer you're in a mission, the slower it becomes.
If you think about it, right, when you drop out of that game, when you log out of that game ready to complete tomorrow or something, right, the server has to save all the information that you have currently made, so that it can.
That information is in the database anyway.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is that the longer you spend in a mission, the more information has to go into that database, which means the more information has to be fed back to you, the longer the game goes on. So I can understand that they can't.
Kind of true.
I can understand they can't keep the information forever. That just, that just makes sense.
Like you leave your character on the planet after the mission time is out. If they need to save all these characters, and if you're talking about millions of players, this will be thousands, tens of thousands every week. Maybe even, I don't know how often this happens, but if you need to keep all this information, that is indeed going to fill up your database. And the bigger your database becomes, the slower the database becomes.
Yes.
This is basically what they're doing now. So getting rid of all this old data, like, hey, the character is lost anyway. Why should we need to keep all the data? You can't recover the character anymore. Wipe the data.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. However, it says this time could be quite long and doesn't need to be directly linked to the length of time the drop should be to meet our design intent. The change we are investigating is to separate these two needs out, having an overall real-time limit that is quite generous, say 90 days, after which the drop may be deleted, and a separate in-game timer that meets design objects, varying per drop to add pressure.
So
well, there we go.
You run out of time, but if it is for, I don't know, a bug mission or like server issue, they have a bit of time to still recover your stuff for you. Maybe the character, maybe the equipment, but not an indefinite time.
Yeah. The next bit then says, in addition, we are also investigating how to bring in insurance as a gameplay element. Well, we have that on several missions anyway.
Yeah.
As there have been excellent suggestions from the community as to how to implement this in a fun and interesting way. Now, again,
they're looking at the community.
And they're looking up the features.
What the community feature.
Yeah.
What they request.
Yes.
And like, what they say, like, hey, maybe you can do it this way or that way. They're actually looking at what the community says. Definitely kudos for that.
Yes. But that's good. I love the fact that this team listens to the community so closely.
Oh yeah.
That's what really made this group stand out for me. So it says then in italics, we don't have a fixed time frame for both of these editions yet, as they require careful testing, which will be in the experimental branch. But we will have more to either say or show in next week's update, so we'll get a bit more information about that next week. Always
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we have a bit of a change log to go through here.
Yes.
So let's get going. Added new mission
Concealment recovery.
Thank you.
The one we're gonna play
Yeah.
straight after patch notes. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, can't wait for it.
my brain is trying to talk quicker than my mouth can move. That's what's happening. Added new scorpion
I know
creature.
that problem.
Added new scorpion creature. Nice. Spoken about. Added new heat stroke and heat exhaustion modifiers, which
So basically, desert. In the desert, if there's a heat wave and you get too hot, you will get some more debuffs. Maybe, I don't know, on speed or stun regen. I reckon.
yeah.
Like you have the frostbite, you now also have the heat stroke.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Although last time I had
balancing it more.
Although
Bring it more in line.
last time I had frostbite, the heat bandages did absolutely nothing. So I didn't bother making any more.
Yeah, I have to admit I never use them.
Well, I used to use them on a regular basis until such a point where I think in one mission I used 4 and I got not a jot of difference, and I'm like, well, if I'm using them and they're not working, then there's no point in using them. No point in making them even. So, temperature changes balance, modified biome temperature curves, modify how temperature resistances work, and reworking and rebalancing player cold and heat resistances, which is linked to the following one of added the concept of armor insulation.
Yeah. So we'll have the new mission is in the desert anyway, so we can test out some of this new stuff.
Yeah. Oh, Mike from the chat is giving us a heads up. He says the scorpions are mean. They have an aggressive aggro range and they hit pretty hard.
Good.
Well,
might not be good for a new player, but at least it gives us a bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, the wolves weren't good for a new player. Come on. So
yeah,
I reckon you're gonna have to have some Icarus experience in order to take on these scorpions. I won't lie, I'm a tad concerned, but I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Yeah, I'm not so much concerned because I haven't experienced them yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to a bit more aggressive creatures in the desert.
Knowing our history of finding animals and enemies with our faces.
Yep.
Yes, I'm a tad concerned.
Well, we'll see. I mean, come on, even the cougars are easy now.
Well, yeah, but yeah.
I kind of hope this will be small and fast creatures, those scorpions. So
well, they said they were enlarged, so I reckon they're going to be at least 1.5 times our body size, or at least a threat enough.
Might be fun, like sandworm size.
Yeah, could be. We'll soon see.
That would be interesting.
Mike says, "Lol, the wolves were my bane until I learned to make the knife first." Absolutely. Well, actually, Mike, I have a little tip and trick that I might actually put out for a beginner player, and that is always craft the pickaxe first, because yes, you can take them out with a knife, and yes, you do need a knife to skin them, but as an early player, I always took them out with a pickaxe. So it didn't matter whether or not I had a knife and I couldn't skin them, because I had a pickaxe, I could still kill them.
Yeah, I'm more of a bow character.
Well, yes, but yeah.
They run at you in a straight line, so it's easy to shoot them.
Yeah. It just so happens that the pickaxe is the very first thing in the very first box of your crafting situation. So.
Oh, true. First thing I do when I drop down, pickaxe.
There you go. Yeah. My point exactly. So yes, let's continue. Okay, updated user interface to reflect temperature changes, and they have rebalanced the resistance values on armor.
Yeah, the temperature changes, I believe they're talking about the little bar on the bottom left.
Yes.
cold and warm meter, so to say.
Yes. Okay. Modified speed at which the player's internal temperature can change. Slower, faster. We'll soon find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see, indeed.
Mike in the chat says, my noob brain didn't equate the pickaxe as a weapon, but I'm no noob anymore. Well,
Exactly.
I'll be honest, Mike, and say that the only reason that I figured the pickaxe was a weapon was because I got attacked by a wolf in my very first mission. The very first time I dropped down, I was level 0. I had just created a pickaxe and I got attacked by a level 10 wolf, and I just attacked it with the only thing I had, which was a pickaxe, and
Basically,
survived to
everything
tell
is
the
a weapon.
tale. I survived to tell the tale. That's the weirdest thing about that. So yes,
I've killed wolves with a sickle. I've killed wolves with a repair hammer, even.
Yes, but we're not noobs anymore either. We are experienced seasoned players. We are diehard players. Literally diehard players.
Which doesn't work to kill wolves, firewhacker.
Yes, because a firewhacker doesn't do any damage.
Exactly.
Alrighty.
So basically, everything else can be used as a weapon.
Yes.
Hit him with your canteen. He'll die eventually.
Yes, hit him with your fists. If you get him cornered, you'll get a bonus for fist kills.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's nice to do on rabbits, but try killing a cougar or a snow leopard with your fists.
Yeah, that's a hard pass. Thank you.
It's hard, but it is possible. I've done it.
Yeah, updated cozy and warm and cozy buff to reflect new resistance values. Okay.
So more of them temperature changes, temperature-related changes.
Yeah. Wet modifier now persists upon leaving water, lasts for extra 30 seconds as the player dries. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that.
It's too hot in the desert.
Yeah, because I've noticed if you're trying to swim at night, you do get excuse me, you do get cold. So if you then stay cold for an extra 30 seconds until you can run out of the water into the house and sit by a fire with your teeth chattering, then yes, I would say that's a good. I like that.
It's more realistic as well.
Yeah. Player can no longer become fully resistant to temperature, which is a good thing, or ever have a non-safe region. That last bit doesn't quite make sense. Or ever have a non-safe region?
It might be there was a bug in the early days where if you had, for example, if you were overheated, and in very rare circumstances, the overheated debuff sticked. You couldn't get rid of it anymore.
Okay.
Maybe, or have like the everlasting non-safe region, as in the non-safe temperature region of your character. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know. But that's like the only possible explanation I can think about for this last part. Yeah.
Well, or where my brain goes with that is not ever having a non-safe region. Like, for example, when you're in the desert, you're miles from home, you get caught out in a storm, there's no caves anywhere near you, and you have to desperately run to every single teeny little rock to see whether or not you can bury into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know exactly what I mean with this last part.
Well, a non-safe region is anywhere you're exposed, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but player can cannot ever have a non-safe region. Well, there will always be non-safe regions.
The entire planet is not. The entire planet is not a safe region, for goodness' sake. Come on.
Exactly.
Mike in the chat is saying, "I don't get that. Was there ever a safe region?"
Exactly. Yeah, maybe in your concrete base, surrounded by hedgehogs for half a click out.
In the middle of a cave that's underground.
Only accessible when swimming through an underground cave, water-filled
Yeah,
underground cave.
yeah. I
Maybe,
mean,
yeah,
really?
yeah.
Okay. Modified player starting stats, so the temperature bar internal values are symmetrical.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see how it looks in game.
Yep, we will. Added new cooling bandage to counter heat stroke and heat exhaustion. Well, if it's as effective as the heat bandage,
Heat bandage.
then
Yeah,
it's going to be really unuseful.
I don't know. We'll have to see. It'll be in the blueprint, I reckon.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, I can have a quick look if I can see it.
Okay. Well, whilst you're
Uh,
looking at that,
yeah,
I
there
will.
is a cooling bandage. Provides the cooling bandage modifier when consumed. Bandage with a soothing balm to quickly lower temperatures. Made with fiber, 40 fiber, 4 oxide, and 10 charcoal.
Okay.
Basically, the same materials as the heat bandage. Now it's called a cooling bandage. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what the modifier is. I'll
Yeah.
cast one and consume one and then see what it does.
Yeah. Added ice water thermos recipe crafted on character to give much longer cooldown buff.
Yeah, it's just,
So
the
here,
desert the desert counterpart of the Arctic drinks, the hot
yes,
cocoa, the hot tea, the coffee.
but
Yeah,
but what I'm noticing here by the very statement of that is here once again we have to have the desert and the Arctic biomes right next to each other, because if you're going to be in the desert, which requires a longer cooldown buff, then you have to have ice from the
yeah,
Arctic to put
that is
into the
correct.
thermos to start with.
That is correct.
So there again, you've got, it's a case of either or with the insulation, or is it for both? So,
Yeah, I'd
uh,
say it is like a cooldown buff. But yeah, you have to have access to the Arctic in order to make it. But
yeah,
then again, when did we ever use a hot beverage? I mean, in one of the missions from last week, where one of the optional crates gave you the hot cocoa. I don't think we used that hot cocoa.
no, we didn't.
We left it in base, like, yeah, we don't need it.
Yeah, because that came with half the polar bear suit. We didn't use that either. We
Yeah,
just left that in a box at
exactly.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mike in the chat is saying cooler bandages there right now, with the other bandages in the tech tree. Oxide
yeah,
charcoal fiber to make it.
yeah. It's branches off from the basic bandage, just like the heat bandage does. So yay! Finally, an extra blueprint point to spend. I only have like about 300 left.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, you should play more, then you collect the blueprint points faster.
Okay. Increase
Uh,
grown and harvested rewards of coffee, tea, cocoa, and gorse, and decrease the recipe ingredient requirement for related drinks based on their scarcity in the world. Well, I'm all
yeah,
for that.
you needed like 50 of them to make one drink.
Yeah, and the problem with that
Uh,
was the fact that it was a one sip drink. Once you used it, that was it. It was gone. It's not like a water canteen.
exactly. And you needed 50 cocoa beans or 50 coffee beans or 50 tea or whatever to make the beverage, and it is hard to collect that many.
Yeah, I mean,
Even if you grow them, you don't get that many per plant. So basically, it was close to impossible to make it.
yes. So
So
I
now
it
they increased the reward. So maybe it will become a bit better now.
yeah.
But then they should either make it so that you can drink multiple times from the thermos. Like if you fill it with water, normal water, you can drink multiple times from it. Or they should make them stuck, one of the two. Because if you want to take 5 hot drinks or 5 cold drinks with you, and it's gonna cost you 5 inventory slots, it isn't worth it in my opinion.
No, correct. Correct. Couldn't agree more. Okay. Added the ability to equip flashlights into the flashlight slot.
Light slot, yeah.
Forgive me for saying, but I seem to remember, if memory serves correct, that they specifically said that flashlights were not going to be allowed in the light slot.
Yep.
And now they
That's
are.
what I said. No, they are, yeah.
So that
I think too many people complained, like, why can't we use the flashlight in the light slot? Every other light source you can do, except for the flashlight. Which for me was kind of the same, like every light source you drop on the floor keeps lit, except the flashlight.
yes.
So you have to hold it in your hand to operate the flashlight. So you put it in your light slot, you don't have it in your hand anymore, so it doesn't
It doesn't work. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Now it does work in the light slot, so now I wonder if you turn on the flashlight and you drop it on the floor, will it still stay lit?
Probably not. Probably
Kind of
not.
makes sense if it would stay lit though, because like if it's well, depends. You have the flashlights where you have with a little dynamo in the handle,
Yeah.
which you have to squeeze all the time in order to generate electricity for the light. Those ones you have to have in your hand, otherwise they don't work. If
Yeah.
it's
And
however battery operated, then it's just flick of a switch and leave and forget.
that's very true. However, if you drop it, it still won't work.
If you drop it from too high, no, it'll break.
So
But yeah, we'll
okay.
see. Maybe we'll
Yes.
go to the flashlight. I don't know. I actually, for me, still the lantern is after the torch is the lantern the go-to. Not the biofuel one, but the normal lantern.
Yes, I prefer that. That's my
Yeah,
go-to. I think the biofuel lantern
biofuel lamp.
doesn't give you no the
It's
bio
a more
it
directional light. It's more light, but it is directional, where the normal lantern is omnidirectional. And the omnidirectional part, that's what I like.
yes. What I don't like about the biofuel lamp is the fact that when you're running, the light moves with you. Which I can
Which
understand because
which is inherent in the fact it's
that's
directional.
realistic. But the point is that will have a tendency to make people feel motion sick because they're not having
Yeah,
a
but
consistent light in a consistent place.
it is
Which is
kind of
why
realistic. It's a directional light, so it's realistic. It's gonna move left and right as you
yes,
walk.
but that's not the case with an omnidirectional light like the torch or just the ordinary lantern, which
Exactly.
will stay lit. Fair enough, it doesn't give quite as good a light, but it lights more.
Actually,
You could
the light difference between the lantern and the biofuel lamp isn't that big. Yeah, the biofuel lamp gives a bit more light, and the lantern is a bit less light. Interesting fact, the lantern also uses biofuel. Might be a
yes.
bit confusing, but yeah.
Yeah,
Eh,
exactly. I found that confusing to start with, I must admit.
yep.
All right, let's continue. The sooner we get this done,
By
the
the
sooner we
way,
get to the science.
yeah, Nightlet
Science.
is not a fan of a flashlight in the slot either. But like you said, tying a torch to your waist is weird also. Yeah, you're gonna set yourself on fire if you're not careful,
Yes,
which doesn't happen. Nah,
that's one of the things that I thought was really weird, right? They wouldn't allow you to put a flashlight in your pocket, but they'd allow you to put a lit torch in your pocket, which is just
yeah.
that makes no sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. Considering if you dropped it on the floor for a half a second, it would set your house on fire.
So imagine wearing a ghillie suit and then putting a
And
lit
having a lit
torch
torch
in
sticking
your
out your pocket.
insta fire. I know, right?
Yeah, here comes
Yeah.
the walking flame bomb.
Yeah.
You know.
Makes more sense to have a helmet light. We're astronauts. Actually, Mike, if you walk about in the dark, you will see a tiny helmet light. Not like a light that lights up your environment, but more like control lights.
Yes, if you're running in the dark with no torches because you don't want to attract predators like bears, then
Meh.
if your players are too far apart for you to be able to see the name, then if you look in that general direction, you'll see a tiny little blue light that sits right in the middle of their forehead, bobbing about, and that's your comrade. So there is a tiny little one there, but it's not a light source. But yes, you're absolutely right. I think it would make more sense to have a helmet light, and that's actually where I assumed it would go. I thought it would go into.
Where will it get a power from?
Pardon me?
If you have helmet lights, you need a power source.
Yes, but if it would make more sense to actually put your light source into a helmet slot into your suit inventory rather than a light slot on your belt.
True.
Does that because then actually, if you think about it, if you're running forwards but looking to the left, you would then light the left way instead of the way forward. Does that make sense?
True, but I don't think that's what Mike was talking about. More like a built-in flashlight into your helmet.
Yes, well that's
for which you would need a power source.
or as you see in the movies, a flashlight attached to the side of the helmet.
Yeah, but again, you would need a power source.
Well, yeah,
anyway,
you got a power source anyway. Mike says, he did not know that about that tiny little light on the top of the helmet and the forehead of the helmet. Well, you do now, so you'll know you can look for that.
Dark. We've been running in the dark a lot, so we noticed this at some point. Yeah.
Yes. Continue with the update, because otherwise we'll never get through it. We'll be talking all night. Added information to the dropship tooltip to show who it belongs to.
Didn't forget one.
Oh, added patch notes to the title screen. My bad.
We already talked about this one.
I'm so eager to get into this game. I want to try this new mission. Right? I'm like, let's hurry up and get this done.
So then we have information to the dropship tooltip to show who it belongs to. So it's in the pop-up.
Yes.
If you look at the dropship.
It might even be, if you run past the dropship, it might come up with the name of the individual.
We'll have a look. It's easy to check when we drop in.
We will. Okay, next. Fixed bases in caves getting destroyed when the player leaves the area. I remember this one very well, and I will remind you of when we had that huge base in the C3 cave, and we came home after drilling the exotics, and all the walls were gone.
The walls and the floors were gone, and all the benches were floating in the air.
Yes, and even I have images. I took screenshots of this, so I might put some of them in my Discord server, which I haven't told anybody about because I'm only just setting it up. So be patient. Please be patient. It's on its way. It's on its way, I promise. And I took a screenshot of a wall where I had covered it in bear heads and bison heads and deer heads and stuff, and they were all just floating in midair because they had been attached to a wall that now did not exist.
Yeah, but also all the benches were floating in the air. The benches were still there in the same location.
Yeah, we didn't lose anything.
The floors where they stood, they were gone.
Yeah, the only thing that we lost was the floors and the walls.
Yeah.
That was really weird.
So they fixed it? Good.
Excellent. Nice. Okay. Fixed radar scans not appearing on the map for clients. Haven't experienced that issue. Can't say that that's been a problem for us.
I haven't heard of this one either, actually. It looks like that the scans were only appearing on the host map, not on the clients. We never had that issue.
No. We've been lucky. We've not had an awful lot of these issues that have been coming up, although we have experienced some of the worst ones, though. All right. Exactly. Next up, I'm trying to hurry us through this so we can get to gaming. I need to game. I'm getting withdrawal symptoms here.
Same here.
Fixed several dialogue subtitles. That's
even
good.
More subtitles. Okay.
That's good. I have noticed that sometimes what is being said is not what the subtitles read.
Actually, this point was in the last week's patch notes and
It
in the week
was.
before as well.
It
So they fixed
was.
even more of them. Well, it's good.
Yes. Okay. Fixed. Now this is a biggie. This is a biggie. Fixed cave worm bow requiring sandworm scale to repair. It now requires a cave worm scale.
Yes, we finally can repair the bow. We don't have to
Woo-hoo!
throw it away when it breaks and build a new one. We can finally repair it.
Hey, no more
And
running.
I told you, yeah, it's the beta scale you needed to
Yes,
repair.
you said that last
There you
night.
go.
Actually, we did a mission last night and kind of speed ran it, and we had 2 scale bows each because we knew we couldn't repair them. So we were running
Yep.
with 2 scale bows and a longbow just in case.
Yep.
So now we can fix them. We don't need to make multiples of. That's really good.
Exactly.
Fix sandworm spear, titanium hammer, and platinum hammer having incorrect repair items selected. Can't say as I've ever noticed.
Me neither.
I don't use.
build those things. I mean, I never use spares anyway.
Yeah, I don't use
for the
spears.
hammer, I usually go with the the wood hammer.
Yeah, I'll stick with the wood one. It does the job. It's cheap to repair. It doesn't last very long, but it's still cheap to repair. You know, don't really need anything else.
Yeah.
Next up, added new materials and textures. I'm so sorry. I'm too eager to game. Too eager to game.
Added new materials to the extractor.
That'll be
Are they
interesting.
talking about the exotics extractor or the deep drill? Because added new materials to the extractor, what, to make it? I don't know.
Well, the thing is that a deep drill
Actually,
a deep drill is
it's
called a
the-
deep drill. The one for the exotics veins is called the extractor. So that's why I would be expecting it to affect.
Blueprints still say it costs 20 iron ingots and 5 electronics.
Okay, so it maybe just looks different. It maybe just looks different then. Okay. Well, we'll soon see because we'll soon be able to tell because we were using extractors in last night's mission. So
yeah, but I'm not sure we will be using one this mission though.
Yeah. Improved smoke effects from mission containers to be more visible for further away. I've noticed that some people in our group can see it and some people can't until they get a bit closer. I can. This giving players a tactical advantage to scouting up high to find and complete objectives. Well, yeah, I can get that.
I really hope this works proper. So hopefully now I can see where the thing is before I stumble over it.
Yes. Okay. Improved smoke.
Fixed a gap in the terrain.
Fixed a gap in the terrain mission Waterfall Expedition in the Riverlands.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
Another gap in the world.
Yeah, where you can see through and see the terrain underneath.
Yeah, fix it. Good.
Okay. Improve the texture on the bedroll.
Again.
I
thought it was looking nice already, but hey, we'll see
because
what has been improved.
They changed it from the beta one. The beta one just looked like a fur sleeping roll.
And it looked like that for the first several weeks.
Yes.
It's only a couple of weeks ago, like 4, 5 maybe weeks ago, that they changed the bedroll.
Well, now they've changed it again. So we'll have to make some of them anyway.
Exactly.
Improve the rendering in rocks surrounding the exotic deposits.
Yeah, we'll have a look how it looks now.
Yeah.
If we can find one that is.
Yeah. Improve the floor collision in the cave used in mission Dry Run. Haven't done that one for a long time.
Exactly.
Fixed an issue where the water pipe tool would be placed into the inventory rather than the hotbar when retrieving it from a supply crate. Well, that's fair enough, but if your hotbar slots are full, is that now going to mean you can't pick it up?
Actually, the first of the new missions of last week's update, where you had to do the research into the sandworm stuff.
Yeah.
I picked up everything from the crate. The electricity tool went into my hotbar, and the water tool went into my inventory. And I completely overlooked the fact that the electricity tool went into the hotbar. I saw the water tool and I was like, "Ah, nice, water tool is there. Oh shit, the electricity tool isn't. So we still have to go to tier 4."
Yes, and you actually made one before you realized it was in your hotbar at all.
Well, we had a bench, yes, but indeed, it took us like at least 30 minutes because I overlooked that fact. So it's a good thing they both go into the hotbar now, so at least it's consequent.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Okay, next up, improved flashlight lighting visuals.
Yeah, maybe they will stay lit now when you drop it on the floor.
We'll have to test it. We've got a lot to
we'll
do.
see.
We got a lot to do. Updated the solo talent tree description to better describe the state that it's in, whether it's active
like I
or
said,
not.
the text box like, hey, it's only when you're alone in the prospect.
Yes.
Only then it's active. So yeah.
Okay, next up, we're nearly finished. Updated the description on all beds to better communicate their use and features.
The whole together with the next one, updated the text for respawn options to be more specific.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the tooltip is now saying something more about respawn point.
Right. Okay.
In the blueprint information, the bed roll, once placed in shelter, a bed can be set as a respawn location. Can also be used to sleep through the night. And yeah, it does look different than what it was, I think, in the tech tree. But anyway, we'll have to see what the tooltip in game will say.
Yep. Updated the text for respawn options to be more specific.
Yeah.
Okay. We just covered that.
Yeah.
Crispy bacon can now be cooked in the pot-belly stove.
Ah, yes, more bacon.
Ooh.
Plus another use of bacon, so not only the cooked bacon, but also the crispy bacon. Me likey.
Yeah.
The only thing that's missing now is the bacon fat that you can use for something even more delicious.
Yes. Yes, that would be nice.
Okay,
Mike.
Don't worry, we will be going to the potbelly stove, Echo. We will
Oh
be going
yes,
there.
I'm a firm believer in the pot-bellied stove. I mean, good God, those roast vegetables.
Exactly.
You can't go without those roast vegetables. Oh, imagine this: roast vegetables and crispy bacon. Oh, yum.
Well, I'm not really a vegetable eater, but okay. I'm more of a meat eater.
Hey, if it's going to give you plus 225 stamina, you'll shove it down your throat. Trust me.
It becomes a bit more, a bit less unattractive. Yes.
Yes. Mike in the chat says two things.
Yeah.
Yes, the tooltip just got clearer.
Good.
Well, if it puts away confusion for people, I'm all for that. But again, I'm just one of these stupid people who kind of thinks it's freaking common sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
not everyone has common sense.
No, this is true.
Yeah.
Fix an issue where
and it looks like Mike's also a big fan of bacon, eh?
Oh yes,
yeah, bacon.
Yes, I'm a
Wake
big
me
fan.
up in the middle of the night for bacon. I won't be angry. I'll be glad you woke me up for bacon.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have woken up to the smell of bacon because Gizmo's made me sell her sandwich, and that's what woke me up. I'm like, okay, I'm hungry now. But
yep.
He also says I'm a heathen because I like crispy bacon. So, each to their own. Next up, we have fixed an issue where the Inaris Aruda arrow did not line up with bows correctly. I actually saw this a little bit with the bone arrows and flint arrows that I was using last night, in so much as soon as they were sitting in my hand on the arrow and I was moving about, the arrow wasn't stationary in its spot. It would like jerk about a little bit.
Yeah, but this is lining up. It is not moving about. This is lining up. Like it was placed a bit too low or a bit too far to the left or whatever.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Although I have to say that I currently have never used the
I mean,
arrows.
neither. I haven't unlocked any of these space arrows.
Nope, me either. Not that I couldn't. I should just chosen not to.
Exactly.
Okay, next up, we only have 5 to go. So we're on a countdown now.
8 to go, yeah.
Well, 5 in the main, and then we've got the edit.
Yeah.
Fixed an issue where text would overlap on the mission timer when it is critically low.
We had this once where it was darn low, where I guess stayed behind for the last exotics.
Yeah, we
I
all
don't recall whether or not the mission timer was like partially blocked by some kinds of text, like "Hey, critically low" or something.
I think it was, but we've only ever pushed a mission to its limit once, and it was. I mean, it was a 6-hour limit. It was a 6-hour mission.
Yeah.
You know, it was a hardcore 6-hour mission. I can't remember for the life of me which one it was, but it was a 6-hour hardcore mission, and we had something like a minute and a half left on the timer when we took off in our dropships. That's pushing it a little too close.
Yeah, I was the host and I had to wait for you folks to go up before I could go up. So
yeah, you're like,
go.
Hurry up! Hurry up!
Yeah.
I'm gonna die! There's a storm coming in!
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like leave now or I'm gonna kick you out.
Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, change the description for spirit level missions to reference the correct objectives.
Last week there was a similar one where they one of the mission descriptions in the mission tree said you had to do 3 items and the actual mission only had 2, so they fixed the description in the mission list. I reckon they did the same here. True, Mike. I was host and I was definitely yelling at them to get out.
Yes.
Like, you get out now, or I'm gonna go up, and I'll kick you out, and then your character will be lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was leave now or forever hold thy pieces on Icarus.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, 3 to go and 2 in the edit. Made the delete prospect outpost button clearer. That's good, because I have to admit, it said to resume the outpost, and then the other one made it sound like you were going to host it, but you were actually supposed to delete it.
If I look at the outpost selection thingy, you click the outpost, you click your outpost, and then it has the yellow button host prospect and a red button delete prospect.
Right, yes, that's changed, because before it was host prospect, and then the other one also sounded like it could have been hosting. So when I don't play my outpost very often, but when we do, by God, it's a nice place.
Oh yeah.
But the thing there is that I quite often, I mean, I've only been in it maybe, I don't know, like half a dozen times, a dozen times or something, and I would still click both buttons to find out which one actually took me in. So yeah, I'm glad.
There was another remove prospect button before this update, which I cannot see anymore. So I think they moved it to have now host prospect and delete prospect underneath one another, and definitely the delete prospect button being red. It was not like that before.
That's very true. So I'm all for making things clearer, especially if it makes it easier for me, and that's going to make it easier for me. So I like that a lot. Okay, here's a new one.
Will now regenerate health when returning to their tether point. So you fight a mini boss, You pull away a bit because you're taking too much damage. He's going back into his cave or whatever, his tether point. Starting this patch, they will regenerate health. So you no longer run in, fire 3 arrows, run out, run back in, fire 3 arrows, run out. No, you have to go in and you have to kill the thing to keep the language polite.
Yeah.
You have to go in and kill it. Because if you pull out to heal up yourself, it means it will heal up as well.
And yet, I've done the Alpha Wolf mission on my own, right?
Yep.
And I can say, without a shadow of a doubt, that my experience was I was in over my head. I totally unprepared for it. I ran like hell in the other direction. And luckily, I did actually manage to outrun them. I got away, and then I kind of buffed myself up and I got better stuff, and I went back. And the Alpha Wolf had more health than he did when I left, because my idea was to stand on top of one of those stones, knowing that they can't get up, but they have the ability to jump, right? Stand on the stones and knife him, right? And so I had taken him down to about half health, right? When I got out of there, it was probably a couple of it was at least a game day, because I had to sleep and I had to do this and I had to do that. And I went back, and that so-and-so, to keep language correct, had now 3/4 of the health. So they already were regenerating health when returning to their tether point.
They weren't always going back to like their tether point. Sometimes they stayed in the area and they did not regenerate health.
Well, now they will.
Hey, it's better because now you can't cheese it like I said. You run in, fire 3 arrows, fire arrows or so you do damage over time.
Well,
when it comes out, when it in and out.
When it comes down to the Alpha Wolf, I can guarantee you I can still cheese that, even in hardcore mode. I guarantee I can still cheese it.
We know the system, yeah.
And if you're lucky and you support me and you stick with me, I may very well actually put out a video as to how you can cheese that super fast, super fast, and you don't lose any health in the process, which is even better. Okay, last.
It is cheesy, but yeah.
Oh my god, it works. It works so well. It works so well. Anyway, let's get back to the updates. The last one, and then we've got a couple of edits. Fixed warm and cozy modifier becoming permanent after the player turns off the source. Okay, so you've got a nice warm fire. You turn it off. You stay permanently warm and cozy. I would have taken that. I would have easily taken that.
Yeah, but it's a good thing they fixed it.
Yeah. Okay, we're on to the final 3. This is edit, and this is thanks to Twist 2021. I've seen him an awful lot. He's very active in the Icarus Discord channel.
Yeah, and
he's very active.
A lot.
Oh yeah, I mean he's answered questions that I've had.
Yeah. By far the most active one there. By far.
Okay. Hydroponic plots now only consume 15 water instead of the 100 they were at. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Composite pastes have a new icon. They look like thermal paste now.
Thermal paste or the carbon paste? I don't know. Let me have a quick look at the composite paste.
I didn't think we had. I didn't realize we had a thermal paste. Did we?
It's used. The thermal, no, there's no thermal paste.
No,
it looks like thermal paste now. Yeah, I see what he means. I'm looking at the icon now. This is thermal paste from real life.
Okay.
I'm a sysadmin. I've disassembled and reassembled computers. So you take off a heatsink, you clean off the thermal paste, you apply new thermal paste, which comes in a little syringe.
Right. Okay.
The composite paste now is also a syringe. It used to look like the
It used
what
to
you
look
call it,
like it used to look like a tin of shoe paste, shoe polish.
there is this. I can't find it no more. Carbon paste. It used to look like the carbon paste with little
Yes.
round. It now looks like a syringe, and yes, indeed, it looks like a syringe with thermal paste.
Okay.
So,
Alrighty. Good to know. And finally, and certainly not least, the invisible walls near the desert entrances of the big cave are now
the
gone.
M9 cave. Remember the M9 cave? If you went there from the desert side, you had to go to the left side of the rock because the right side was blocked off by invisible wall.
Yes.
Apparently, that's finally fixed.
Excellent.
Yay for that. Yeah.
Excellent.
Because it was darn annoying. Especially when we had built a base just in front of that rock.
Yeah.
You want to run to the right of the rock, and you're like, oh no, invisible wall. Now I have to go back and go all the way around the house to go to the other side, and it was annoying.
It certainly was.
So they finally fixed that. Good.
Nice. Okay, well, there we go. The update is complete. If you are still with us, thank you very much for watching, listening, and supporting us. Much appreciated. Give us a thumbs up, a subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything new on the channel. We are going to take a very quick 5-minute bio break, drink renewal situation here, and we will join again with a live stream doing the brand new mission. So don't go anywhere. We will be back in about 5, maybe 10 minutes max, but we will be back really soon with the
5
live.
minutes is enough for me.
5 minutes is enough for me as well. So let's get out of here. Thank you very much for everybody who's joined us. Stay tuned. We'll be back with another live stream. And thank you very much for being with us, Mike. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope you enjoyed what we gave you and the explanations and just a general chit chat about what is happening with the game. So it's good night from me.
And good night from her.
And we will see you on the next one. Thanks very much for watching. Good night. See you in a bit.